The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Cali Sportsman, WDC is now on your radio. Coming live from the Bay, yeah, that way. They talk sports all day, LA. Dropping knowledge, high school, college, trying to score play by play. NFL, NBA, NHL, that's right, you name it. They gon' bring it to you live. Talking sports and entertainment. From the famous and the, you name it. Cover all sports from the football field.
All right, good evening. Welcome to Sports Collective TV. I'm your host and moderator, Ron, a.k.a. WDC. I want to thank you for listening in. As always, we have a very spectacular, important show for you right here on Morris Media Live. Mondays at 5 o'clock. Make sure you check out our social media, Sports Collective Media on Instagram and Facebook. If you've been checking us out, we've been advertising the show for this week. Of course, my man Caldwell is back. We're going to talk about some more solutions around objectification and what that looks like, not just from the military aspect of it or sports, but even as fans and how it impacts the world and kind of really separates us. So we're going to talk some solutions about that. We got Josiah here on the deck as well for our Chasing the Hoop Dream segment. You know, that's a very important conversation. There's life towards sports. So, you know, we make sure that we want to get those backstories. So he's here to share his story. And we're going to talk about some transitions in this first part right here because that's what Caldwell and I talk about as far as military. And we were sharing off the air. Shouts out to my man, Cali Sportsman, who was out. If you saw the Instagram, my man was up there at the Raider game yesterday. Of course, they took that L, but oh well. But yeah, Cali Sportsman, shout out to him up there taking some time off, hanging out with his moms. And, you know, we just going to get it started. Oh, and also we got for the women's Chasing the Hoop Dream segment, I almost forgot, Gianna Woods is back for her part 2. So she's on her way here. And so we got, again, Chasing the Hoop Dream segments, and then we got Caldwell. So let me introduce the deck real quick so we can get this show started. Caldwell, you want to say some hellos?
Hello, and good to be back. Good to be back with you.
All right, and then, sorry? Don't be afraid, just pull the mic up.
My name is Josiah Whitehead, but I mean, everybody knows me as Oz is overrated, so. Yeah, this is actually my first time saying my name. So,
is it? Yeah, okay.
A lot of people don't even know my name.
Right.
It's cool though.
Where did the Instagram name come from?
No, I think it relates to a lot of people, whether they know it or not. You know, just whether you're pursuing something, and you know, life is a challenge, of course. Yeah. You know, sometimes you might be dealing with stuff where people don't believe into you, maybe your parents or whatever. You know, the odds might be against you. Yeah. You know. Odds is really overrated, so it's really a lifestyle. So. Yeah,
and
mindset.
I take that right because of the education that I've had about understanding how important language is. Right.
Right.
When you usually say odds, it's always like the brain always looking for that negative aspect of something, right? So your mind always wants to figure out what the odds. I mean, it's good to go odds as far as like looking for the consequences. Right. Like a lot of people don't look at before you make these decisions. Like, what's the consequences? Right. So maybe you want to go talk to people to find out if you're going to go down that way, see what they experience. Exactly. But odds, I'm with you. Like, I don't know such thing as odds. Right. Description of something. Right. Oh, well.
I first thought you said Oz. Oz.
Oh, no.
Odds.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm liking it. and I liked it when, just before we went on the air, you said transition, and you're kind of excited about this.
The challenge.
The challenge, yeah.
For sure.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
I like that. We'll have some stuff to talk about.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so in the world of news, like what do you focus on when you in the world? What do you care about?
What do you mean,
like politics or sports background, or like you say you don't watch football that much.
To be honest,
so like,
man, I've really just been watching a lot of interviews about just like life after basketball. It's not necessarily. I haven't been watching a lot of interviews as far as basketball. Like I've actually don't even watch basketball, not as much,
Yeah.
just because I'm just trying to change my mind to like learn other things, you know, watching certain things. Just I'm very just optimistic. So like my mind is everywhere as far as like just learning. Like, you know, I'm just trying to tap into different avenues.
Just
so
trying to figure out what's
not
next.
not necessarily know where I'm going, but I'm just like, you know, just a little transition. So
What do you want
Looking,
yeah, searching,
searching.
defining myself after basketball in a sense.
Right. And you wake up with what on your mind this morning?
Money.
Oh, okay. So it has to pay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And be fun.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Gotcha.
The second passion, in a sense.
Right.
Not even a sense. It's my second passion.
Right.
I think that's something you need to find, especially, you know, if you don't find that, you'll be depressed.
That's important to know. One of the things that happened in my transition from being a poor farm boy to becoming a successful counselor was that the whole education system really is about guiding you to find yourself. Nobody ever said that to me, and I see the frown on your face.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. It's a journey.
It is.
For every individual, and this is a place for you to find yourself, and we expose you to this and this and this and this. Find something that turns you on.
Right.
And when you do, stick with it. Because if you stick with it, do it as best you can, do it well,
sure.
You're going to find something else and something else and something else.
For sure.
And when kids got that, so, that's why I'm going to school. Because prior to that, you ask a kid, go today and ask a kid, why you go to school? Because they send me.
Right.
And so they're there for whoever blows in their ear.
Exactly.
Versus searching for self.
Yeah.
And like I said, transition, we talked about, like, I was not nowhere interested in being in broadcasting radio or nothing. Like I said, I was coming out of the military, depressed, huge sports fan, played basketball, you know, had my little old chasing hoop dreams. And then in the midst of my transition phase, depression, a friend of mine was like, man, you should just connect yourself to sports, do a talk show.
Right.
Went to Blog Talk, created a show, doing 2 hours. And then when I saw that my sickle cell trait exertion was more important than the sports talk, I combined the two because they actually kind of go together because athletes collapse from sickle cell trait exertion. So I started doing that. So in my transition and what Caldwell teaches the youth and now with veterans, I'm a prime example of that because you got to find your what's next.
Exactly.
And a lot of times what people don't understand is it may be an experience that you don't think nobody wants to hear about or nobody could relate to. Like, you're the only one on the planet that experienced that negative thing.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Not true.
And I found a whole nother community of people, man, that I'm connected to. 4 million people with sickle cell trait in the United States that I need to reach. Globally, 300 million people. So you're talking about that negative thing that happened in the military actually is now my next conversation after 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole concept of change being threatening. And a lot of people are fearful of change because I'm going to lose what I have.
Right.
But change always opens new opportunities. Mm-hmm. And to just shift that mindset to, what is this change telling me about me?
Right.
What I need to do that next. And listen. And when I say listen, I mean listen externally and internally. Listen to yourself.
Right.
Listen to the world. Depending upon what your orientation is, listen to God. Listen.
For sure, you got to listen to God.
Yeah.
But I definitely, it's funny. This is crazy. We're talking about this because, like you said, people are scared or fear for that transition because they're scared of what they might lose.
Yes.
You know, it's almost. I was talking to my friend about this. It's like staying relevant. They're scared to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the basketball world, for me, either a lot of basketball players, a lot of sports, when you're used to doing a certain thing and when you're playing at the top of your level, and then let's say that you can't do that no more. Mm-hmm. You can even say Carmelo Anthony. Like, we're not going to go into, but it's just like you don't know what's next. And right now, like I said, I'm in that transition, but I've been blessed, and I learned that from Kobe Bryant because he was like, Kobe Bryant, I don't know if y'all know, he stopped playing basketball. He doesn't want to play again. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard that, I was like, how do you not want to play basketball no more? And he was like, I'm blessed because I found a second passion. Mm-hmm. And that's when I saw that, that's when I was like, okay, I need to find something that I love. Yeah. And ever since then, my transition is not the best, but it's been better. I haven't hit no depression stage because I do like doing videos, and I told you that.
Right.
So being here, that's what makes me excited. Of course, I still like playing basketball. That's never going to change. But I found a second passion that is making videos. So the transition is still different, but it's not. It hasn't been a depression stage because I feel like I have found my second passion.
Yeah.
So
that's evidence of progress. Because in the culture, talking about this issue in this way is brand new.
It is. A lot of people don't want to talk about it.
Brand new. Yeah. And as I said earlier, when you get change, always opens new opportunities.
Always
look for the new opportunity.
Right.
Your new opportunity.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic for sure.
I know when I started interviewing people with sickle cell, right, and you have that disease that defines a lot of people,
right,
and it's like, no, like you got hobbies, right?
Right.
So maybe that hobby that you have connected to your conversation. So I would always end my show with, what do you want people to know about sickle cell? And it would make them think.
Right.
And they would say, oh, I want them to know A, B, C, and D. Well, maybe that's your voice.
Right.
So we need you to actually talk about that because we always talk about people don't know about sickle cell.
Right.
So then I started asking questions. What do you want them to know?
And I want you to elaborate a little bit more because I don't really know too much about sickle cell.
All right, so I'll give you a quick breakdown.
Yeah, please.
So sickle cell trait is a red blood cell condition.
Right.
So the red blood cells carry oxygen through your body. Right. So I have one normal and I have one that's the S gene, trait gene. So when I collapse, that S gene mutates. So under exertion or stress, that mutates from round and the donut shape size to like a sickle.
Is it also when you go into higher altitudes? Is that
so? It can also trigger because the oxygen, again, red blood cells carry oxygen. So places like Denver.
Yeah.
So Ryan Clark, Pittsburgh Steelers, 2007.
Exactly.
Lost his spleen and gallbladder.
Right.
Because he's playing against the Broncos.
Crazy.
So he can no longer suit up against the Broncos. Cost us a couple of runs to the championship. Yeah, so it's a red blood cell condition. So if a person has both copies of those genes, then imagine 60-70% of your red blood cells mutating with that much oxygen depleted from your body. And then wherever there's no oxygen, there's pain.
Right.
So there's that. I found that whole community of people. So when you talk about what's next, I mean, as veterans, that's what we deal with. Like we've served this country, the camaraderie. There's a lot of things that pride and ego, identity crisis that males, we have identity crisis anyway.
Right.
So when you peel all that off, and then you get into, why are you here? Like, what was you born for? And there's ways for people to look at that, but like Caldwell says, language traps us because people think change is negative. People think those things, how we describe them or how we see them on TV or movies, language, and you have to shift how you talk.
We're humans, as social beings. We need to belong somewhere. Mm-hmm. And when we find a place where we belong, the fear is, if I lose this, there's no more me.
Right.
And so that's the fear of change.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely an example coming out. I lived in the future, so I dealt with depression and anxiety. So depression is the past, anxiety is the future. So I was angry about my past, and I was scared of my future. So the future of uncertainty is one of the distinctions that we talk about. And if you live so far in the future, you can't control, right? So then if you're so far in the future, then imagine what your life is right now.
For sure.
You're all over the place.
For sure.
And then if you're dealing with your past experiences, so I had to literally forgive myself that day I sprinted and collapsed. And then I had to start living instead of to next year, only like 2 days. Mm-hmm. So today is Monday. I live until Wednesday.
Right.
So I have enough money, gas, food, everything I need right now. At least till Wednesday.
Right.
And if I want to push it, right,
I
could push it to January.
Right.
But then why? when I have everything that I need here. So when I learned that, and just the power of sharing, conversation, man, like I say, people relate and connect. Yeah. We're not different from each other, men or women. We all have the same thoughts, ideas. It's just how we experience life. What do you want to say so far about your transition or looking back?
I really enjoy this, to be honest, man. Like I'm always trying to push myself to get out of my comfort zone. Yeah. That's one thing that I've always been that way. So I look at this as a challenge, to be honest. Like even now, like the whole month of December, I'm not eating any meat. That's new to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm just always looking for ways to get uncomfortable, try new things, even if I'm scared. So, this transition, I'm like, okay, if I want, I can go play overseas right now. Right. I can't. I can do that. I'm good enough. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you know what? Let's try something new. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because basketball, I feel like basketball is always going to be there as long as I stay healthy. Yeah. So I'm like, let's challenge. Let's do this. And my cousin, I was in Mexico during the time. I was just relaxing in Mexico, not doing nothing. Didn't know what I was doing in my life. I was just in there. I was like, what am I doing? I'm just chilling. My cousin said, just come to California. And I just not even think. I was like, okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. All right. And it's just like, so.
Don't give it all away. Don't give it all away. Right. We're going to talk about it in a second. Right. Chasing the Hoop Dream segment. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. I got Gianna. She's here. And so we're going to have a conversation with her first real quick because she's part 2. And then we'll bring you back. For sure. All right, so this is Sports Selective TV. Shout us out. What's the count? Again, shout out to my man Fredo back there. Got us under control. We'll be right back.
AskAlien.com. Media marketing experts here to help you grow your business into the next level and boost your sales. Visit us to learn more. AskAlien.com.
Keeping Our Lungs Safe has been part of the local initiatives that have been going on to educate our decision makers about, the impact of flavored tobacco, specifically menthol, in the African American community. Right. And we actually were at the LA County Board of Supervisors office a few weeks ago, where they were having a meeting to discuss an ordinance that would ban all flavored tobacco products and vaping products, including menthol, in certain areas of Los Angeles. And they actually ended up passing that ban.
So we finally got a tax passed, which was Proposition 56, and that was a couple of years ago. That put a $2 tax on cigarettes and vaping.
That's why they're so expensive.
Yes. Thank you.
So you thought that
slave trade. So when we see Harriet Tubman, we need to look at it from that lens, and that ever since then, this plant has been killing us in one way or another.
Right.
Hi, my name is Marlene, and I'm 71 years old. I know I don't look it, and that's because I go to Regina at WJ Wellness. And what I really love about her is the way she takes care of my skin. Regina has a variety of facials, and I think I have tried every last one.
My name is Regina Jackson. I've been a licensed esthetician for over 25 years. I'm located at WJ Med Spa in Culver City, California.
And I must say, Regina is the best esthetician in town.
Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at WJ Med Spa. Please come in and visit us and come in for a complimentary consultation. Again, your skin is your beauty. Hope to see you soon.
And I still have not gone to get my chiropractic crack back. None of that not stuff. Yet. Everybody's gone but me. I live too far away. I live way out, so I'm not in LA. So I got to go check out and get my.
What do they say about hard heads?
Make a soft something. Welcome back to Sports TV again. Host and moderator Farron, aka WDC.
Again.
Yes, back to be a part of here. Part 2. Gianna Woods, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me back again. I have been looking forward to this conversation, for us continuing this conversation.
Welcome.
So before we get into some deep conversation with my man Caldwell here, congratulations on this weekend. Let's just go right into it.
Yes.
Women's Drew. What do you want to say? We got a picture I got from Don sent us a photo.
Did Don send you a picture?
Yeah.
What picture did Don send of this win? This was a good win. This was important.
You was doing your thing. No. The one where she's holding the black and white. The women's Jew jersey. Too. Yeah, the women's Jew jersey one. So what was a little bit offline? You talked about you got there early. Give us some lead up to this. What happened?
So this game was really important for us because we needed to win this game in order to go to playoffs. Throughout the season, we've been trying to find our rhythm. And so we've done a different series of games, gone through a series of games, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And so I knew for sure for us to win this game, I had to be super present. I know that this is a team thing, but part of leadership is losing in the front and winning in the back. And I knew in order for me to win in the back, I had to be there first.
Yeah.
So I got there like an hour early. Teammates are coming in, kind of just showing them where my head was at, things that we needed to be doing. So from that moment on, we were able to mesh well and everybody communicated. Everyone felt comfortable. And that's for sure the reason why we won that game on Sunday. So we pulled it off.
Great.
I mean, I'm speechless. Like, it's important. Obviously, it was definitely an important game. What do you, not to get too far in the future of next game, but what are you preparing for already for next week?
Next week, we play the number one team. So that requires everything.
There's a photo up there. That's what we got.
With my C's candy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave me a nice little C's candy. I ate that with grapes. So that was a good little balance.
What were you thinking when that picture was taken? Where was your mind at?
I didn't know that I got player of the game. I didn't know that. I didn't know I had the most points on the team from that game. I was just so focused in the game. So, and making sure everything was functioning, all the pieces were together. So at the end, they were like, oh, Gianna got player of the game. And so I'm looking around like, Gianna got player of the game. We're talking to each other, Gianna. And I'm like, Gianna. And they're like, Gianna. I'm like, Gianna. So I did. I took my picture. And so that I was really happy for that win. I was super happy for that win. Because then I wouldn't have a game to invite you guys to next Sunday.
Exactly.
You know?
So what is your celebration dish after a victory?
She just said it. Next Sunday.
Exactly.
No special foods? No special foods you go after?
For winning a game? We talked about this last time, how terrible or good I am about next game mentality. So even winning that game, all I'm looking forward to is the next game. I was like talking to the coach, just letting him know I was there for the next game. And yeah, so I guess make sure to take some time to actually celebrate having a win. Yeah. I'll do that this week. I'll plan to make time to celebrate the win this week.
Cool deal. You got anything? No, not yet. Okay, so we brought you back because we had so much dialogue last time you was here.
It was great.
Right.
Yes.
So anything that you want to start? I know where I want to pick up from, but anything that you specifically had in mind you wanted to address?
No, you lead the way.
You lead the way? All right, so we were actually talking about objectification, definitely, and how that plays out from military to sports fans. How can I say this? From your perspective, since the last time we talked about that, how have you seen that show up in your own personal life?
Since the last time we talked about objectification?
Yeah. How does that show up?
Just in the sense of living up to expectations based off of the way we present ourselves.
Yeah.
Since then, I've actually started working with a company that does live parties. They're like silent headphone parties.
Yeah.
So instead of speakers in the venue, everyone gets a set of headphones, and it has a switch on there with 3 different DJs playing music. And so depending on which DJ you want to listen to, now you get to party with people to 3 different clubs. So it's like having 3 clubs in one party. It's really fun. It changes the way you party. Oh my goodness, you guys have to come. You guys have to come December 21st in Hollywood.
That's different. So give us some background. How did you get involved in that?
We worked together because I was a personal trainer at Equinox. We worked together to actually put on the first women's basketball clinic in Equinox.
Okay.
Because there was never a sports section for women, let alone skills sports section for women. And so we partnered up together, and I was thinking, like, what's a cool way for us to,
like an icebreaker kind of,
to experience it differently. If everyone is like nervous about what's happening, that's a perfect way to bond, you know? And so it's like, they're not worried about skill levels. Nobody's worried about, you know, friends and cliques. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. So I thought that was like perfect. So they came in, and so we continue working together. So I found out that they actually are the leaders in silent headphone parties in the nation. So it's actually a really good opportunity to kind of redefine what going out looks like. And it provides a safe space. A lot of
So
people,
I want to get the picture. The multiple people in the room.
Yes.
Each with a headset on.
Yes.
And each listening to whatever they're listening to. But we're right next
standing
to one
right by
another.
each other.
Dancing.
I'm saying that's intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's different.
So you imagine that on the stage, you've got 3 DJs on stage, and each DJ has color-coded headphones. So somebody's green, red, and blue. And then you've got to switch on your headphones. So depending on who you want to listen to, you can go ahead and flip it to green, flip it to red, flip it to blue. And now you can look at all your friends, and you can see what color they're wearing or what channel they're listening to. So now you can click to that channel, and now you know exactly what everybody's listening to.
What's the feedback you got from that?
Everybody
if
loves
any?
it. Love it.
Yeah.
It's different. When you first go in, you want to figure out what's going on. But after you start flipping through the stations, it's a really good way to communicate. It's awesome.
So if I see you're green and I want, I can go green, and you let you know that we're green.
Yes.
No? That's pretty cool.
During that training that you did there, what did you discover from the women basketball players? What did you connect with it?
At my skills session?
Yeah. You coach, right?
I do coach.
Okay, so then.
Yeah, and I'm so sad my friend isn't here today, because I brought all my stats today to show him exactly what was going on. Yeah, so we definitely miss you here in this spot. I've been a basketball coach at a university level. I've been a basketball coach at the grassroots level with the kids. I haven't done any pro coaching, but there the idea was to create a safe space, because there's being in a competitive environment, everyone's always kind of checking each other, and it's always it can be very intense. So I wanted to make sure that, first of all, people were going in there to have fun and to explore themselves. Yeah. So that was what I was looking for, and what I wanted to make sure was happening throughout the whole time. And then kind of letting all the women color it themselves, because these are like professional women, corporate women working all day,
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they're mothers and wives. So to have an outlet for them to kind of release any, frustrations or just get creative as a creative outlet, that was the important thing for me for having that clinic.
And to touch on, we talked about the tomboy conversation for sure. So I wanted Caldwell to kind of address or just mention any kind of solutions around that, or what do you want to encourage how do people manage that?
That came from left field.
We switched subjects.
Yeah, switch subject. The search for self that we talked about in the earlier portion before you came. Orientation for oneself is this journey that I'm on is in search of me. From day one in school, not said to the student. The guest who was on before said, nobody ever said that to me. Yeah, but the whole point to this whole journey that you're on is finding yourself. And you've articulated it very well. You found yourself in height and basketball, and then transitioning to other things. And that's life. I'm in my 8th decade and still discovering and still learning, and sitting in this chair with this guy So the process doesn't end. I guess when they close down the last curtain, I'll see what line I get into.
Yeah, you have to come back and tell me.
Next. Yes, yes.
Come and visit me and tell me what's going on.
Yes.
So what do you want to say to the young women basketball players or the women chasing hoop dreams? Like, what do you want them to know as far as their transition or what to look for?
There are different stages of a basketball career. So which stage do you want me to speak to?
Stage you're in right now.
The stage I'm in right now? Right now, I've transitioned. I don't identify with an athlete anymore. So now I'm learning and really applying now what I want to do with the other parts of myself. When I was overseas, I spent a lot of time studying, spent a lot of time learning, spent a lot of time alone. And that's one of the things that traveling overseas and playing overseas affords you, is that alone time to develop, separate from what's going on in other places. So during that time, I really was interested and deliberately trying to make sure that I was learning things that were beyond myself and what I was going through. Being an athlete, it's very easy to get put in a bubble, especially if you're a talented athlete, because a world gets created around you. And as basketball is so transformational, it's so important, it's such a great place to develop yourself. On a grand scale, it is entertainment. So when you are finished entertaining, it's important to have other aspects of yourself to go to. So that part I was really, really passionate about while I was away and alone. Yeah. And I am sure that's a big reason why I can stand so firm in the person that I am now, because I've proven to myself and I've written to myself and I've planned to myself and I've dreamed to myself and I've disappointed myself and I've lied to myself and I've gotten real with myself and I've gotten mad at myself and I've been super proud of myself by myself.
One of the things that impressed me about what you said is that you focused upon, you were searching for that other part of yourself to go to. And some people who are struggling with transition are looking externally to find, what am I going to do next? And you were looking here to see what part. That's really crucial. Yeah. That is really astute. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for acknowledging that I'm a student, because I am always a student. Yeah, always.
Great.
And to add to that, just what I'm learning from myself from transitioning out of the military and then getting into radio and TV, just from self-taught, and then going back to school to learn the FCC rules, and then going to the TV Academy and learning how to use the cameras and all the screenplay writing, all that, into what it's turned out to be now. I mean,
I'd like to say something, elaborate a little bit on that point.
Tell me.
Transitions give rise to parts of ourselves that's emerging, saying, my turn.
Yes.
And that's the part that's going to take us through this next phase in our journey.
Yeah. Yes.
It's scary.
Yes.
And the tendency has been culturally to push it down, to sedate it, instead of listening to it.
Yes.
And so you're an impressive woman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And to expand on that thought, right? And this is how it works. This is how the self-development process works.
Yes.
You think to yourself, you have a thought, and then you think about that thought, and then you think about that thought. To your point, it is so scary to decide to do something different. And anyone who's come from any urban situation, any minority situation, it is scary to break away from a thought process of a societal pressure, of a reality that you have grown up internalizing, and it even being your safe space. And I would love to see more platforms talking about mental health, especially in the Black community, because we grow up wanting to be strong, being taught to be strong, but also to kind of ignore when we need to express ourselves in good and bad times. And I think because of that pressure to be strong, we kind of suppress the pressures that comes with exploring the negative sides of ourselves. So we teach kids to kind of like, don't say anything, keep the loyalty in, don't speak on things you're feeling. And then when you're a child and you see, if you do grow up in disruption and chaos, then you internalize that as normal. I think that we need to speak more on that. We need to speak so much more on that.
And before I take this break, so we got our next guest coming. What I tell my daughters now is, look for your purpose, your passion, your gift, and go to school for that. Don't go to school to get a job. Mm-hmm. Go to school to what you care about, because that education is going to get you in the door to talk about what you want to talk about. So if you want to be in psychology and you have ideas of how to shift those conversations, well, get a degree in that, because that puts you in the room with those people. And then therefore now you can input your conversation in there. So a lot of times people just go to school to just get a job.
To just get a job. Yeah, and whose fault is that?
Well, that's what we're taught. Society.
That's what you're taught.
That's what society teaches
us.
So,
I agree. All and right. One thing I'll say to people that are my age and our young old souls is that we're here and we're adults now. So it is time to set the standard of what the future will look like. We can be born into a situation, but you don't have to die in it. Yeah. And there's no excuse. And
on that note, we're going to take a quick break, do the next Chasing Hoop Dream segment. Thank you for your time. Don't go nowhere. We're going to let you sit down, but we're going to bring you back up at the end of the show, so don't go nowhere. All right, we'll be right back. Sports Sector TV, shout us out. What's the count?
AskElia.com. Media marketing experts here to help you grow your business into the next level and boost your sales. Visit us to learn more. AskElia.com.
The Consortium of Health and Military Performance, also known as CHAMP, of the Uniformed Services University of Health and Science, known as USUHS, is conducting a study to understand a possible genetic link between sickle cell trait, known as SCT, and exercise-related events, known as EREs, such as exertional rhabdomyolysis, muscle damage, heat stroke, and or collapse. We are inviting African American men and women with sickle cell trait and their family members to participate. Participating in the study will require you to complete a health history questionnaire, a form authorizing our study physician to gather health information from you and your healthcare provider, as well as a one-time blood donation. In order to qualify for the study, you must meet the following criteria: be African American, be sickle cell trait positive, be able to read, speak, and understand English, be between the ages of 18 and 80, and currently not being treated for any mental or psychological disorders. Participation is completely voluntary, and your decision will not impact your healthcare. The results for this study are for research purposes only and are not intended to directly benefit any individual for confidentiality reasons. However, the results of this study are intended to help better shape policies and associated health risks affecting the SCT community. Participants may be compensated for their time. To join the study, or if you would like additional information regarding the study, please contact the study team by phone, area code 240-479-9514, or email sctstudy-ggg@usuhs.edu.
Hi, my name is Marlene, and I'm 71 years old. I know I don't look it, and that's because I go to Regina at WJ Wellness. And what I really love about her is the way she takes care of my skin. Regina has a variety of facials, and I think I have tried every last one.
Over 25 years. I'm located at WJ Med Spa in Culver City, California.
And I must say, Regina is the best esthetician in town.
Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at WJ Med Spa. Please come in and visit us and come in for a complimentary consultation. Again, your skin is your beauty. Hope to see you soon.
That facial. Oh, man. All right. So if you want more information about sickle cell trait, go to WDCOandsCT.org. All my information is on there. All the different topics about the risk factors, about how to get screened. It's not just African Americans. We are number one because it fights malaria. I didn't give you that part. So it actually fights malaria is what the sickle cell trait. The body created that defective gene. So 5,000 plus years ago, when people got malaria in Africa and Mediterranean parts, they would die. So the body created that defective gene. So when they got malaria, that red cell dies off quicker comes back, and they were able to survive malaria. So the campaign over there is don't get malaria. Over here is more of exertion and making sure you don't have your mate doesn't have that to have a child with sickle cell disease. So. All right, Josiah, man, you ready?
Ready, man.
All right, man. So give us some background, man. Where'd you grow up?
Portsmouth, Virginia.
Okay.
From Virginia. East Coast.
East Coast?
Yeah.
What was your environment like in the VA back then?
Man, so cliche, man. I mean, urban background, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
It's normal, man. So yeah, that's
what is Virginia like?
Wow. Question.
Commonwealth.
It depends on where you at, man. I mean, you got your good areas and your bad areas. It's just like LA.
Yeah.
It's the same way. You got your good areas, and then if you go, make a wrong turn, you might end up in a place you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's Virginia's for lovers, man. So, it's a nice place.
Where did this initial love for basketball come from?
I don't know, man.
No?
I think I just always like basketball, which is ironic because I'm the tallest person in my family. But I just always like basketball. I mean, my brothers, we all play basketball. We all play sports.
Yeah.
My dad,
okay.
My dad surrounded us around sports, period. But I think I was just always fun with basketball, not knowing what I was going to do with it, but I just love basketball.
What other sports you played? Football, baseball?
Football. I was better at football than basketball. Crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what was your episode of football? I call it fourth down. So, what was your fourth down about football?
I mean, I was always tall around my peers. I was always tall. So, but I was always mobile too. Mm-hmm. Like even when I was tall, sometimes when you're tall, you're goofy.
Yeah.
I was always like mobile. So when I played football, I played tight end, running back. Not running back, my fault, wide receiver.
Okay.
So I was actually better because that came more naturally. I think for me, I think football is more like it's less skill. And I don't want to talk bad about football.
No, not at all.
But it's just like I feel like it's less skill. It's more running, jumping high, catching. Yeah. That stuff came natural. Like you do that, you in the hood, you just run around catching footballs, not like
but football takes a lot of heart,
right? So that's why I didn't want to talk about it because I've had this conversation with my family. They're more football heads than basketball heads. So for me, football just came more natural. All I had to do was just run and catch, and then hit, and all that stuff was easy.
So give me the episode of we all got our bell rang at some point. So what was that hit?
This is crazy.
Give me that hit.
Funny you say that. So my older brother, he played football. This guy was he was just around our neighborhood. He was just good at football. So he's the reason I played football. And I didn't want to play football. I was like, you know what? He used to say that I was a punk. So I was like, you know what? I ain't a punk. I'm gonna play football. So I played football. And I remember it was just practice. That's the first time I got hit. And he was running back, and I was playing defensive end. And I saw him come around the corner. I said, I'm about to knock this guy out. And my brother's way shorter than me. He's like 5'10". And he put me on my back, and he just stared at me and just ran into the touchdown. This was practice. And I'll never forget that. And I was like, okay, that's why my brother is
That's why he's who he is. Give me some mental toughness. Obviously, you say you grew up with your parents and some siblings. So give me some mental toughness.
I've been blessed to have my parents with me. A lot of parents, they either a lot of guys, a lot of boys, they live with just their mom. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed to come a stable foundation with my parents, with a very religious background. So my mental toughness I didn't really face a lot of mental toughness until I got older. Mm-hmm. And my parents was always there for me. It's very supportive and all that stuff. But I was just mental toughness didn't come until I started reaching college.
Reaching college?
Yeah.
Okay. So this whole basketball life, obviously, if you're the tall person, how did your peers deal with you? Did you get any bullying? I mean, for women, it's probably different, but for men, did they bully you as a kid for being too tall?
Not really, man. But my brother, man, he was a monster, man. My brother was my older brother. So anybody who was we had a lot of haters when I was growing up, man. Like, because I was the tall one in the neighborhood, and I was good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls, like, my brother was good at football. He was like, especially when we were like living in a certain area, he was good at football. He was young, but he was playing like on varsity football. So all the girls like, so we had a lot of hate. So there was times where a lot of guys would just want to fight us just because of who we are, and mainly because we were different. Like I said, we were brought up in a very religious religious household.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't do the stuff that the average kids did. Like, you know, if there was kids going outside and doing, you know, my mom sheltered us from that. So they were like, oh, they think they're better than us.
Yeah. How did you deal with that?
Well, if you want to say that's mental, that was a little bit difficult too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know, we just, you know, when you're young, you don't know no better. I'm like, yo, why these guys hate me? Like, why do these guys, my parents didn't, I would ask why do they hate us?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, but it was just, I don't know. For the most part, almost every day we always had to get in a fight. And it wasn't necessarily with me. It was like my brother always had my back, but they just wanted to fight us just because of who we are and what we represented.
Any foundation skills in that?
I'm just reflecting on my own
right.
childhood. I come from a large family, really solid values and foundations. Parents stayed together for 62 years, and you know that kind of thing, and that set us apart. Also, but what I was cueing on as you spoke during my childhood, I wondered why I was weird because I had dreams. I'd see the billboards and want to do those things, and both my siblings and my friends would say, "You know, you can't do that." This is growing up in where the law segregated us and prohibited participation. We're looking at some show today, and I said, have you noticed on these old sitcoms and these old television shows how white they are?
Exactly.
So I thought, why am I so weird? That nobody else is thinking about these things. So I didn't know how to deal with it. Didn't get any guidance. Didn't know that I could. Maybe I didn't have anybody to talk to. But anyway, I didn't know that I could talk about this. So I just kept it to myself. Oh, I will quit mentioning my dreams, but I won't give them up. I'm mid-30s. I had celebrated with my wife. We had far exceeded our fondest dreams, childhood dreams, because the more your world, universe expands, the more your dreams expand.
So you kept that vision.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And it made all the difference.
High school. What was your high school basketball like?
High school was challenging, man. It's funny because even though I was one of the best in my neighborhood, I had confidence issues, man. Yeah, I had confidence issues. So,
looking back today, what do you think those confidence issues were? Looking back,
I don't know, man. Like, I think if I had to, I think it was my parents kept us sheltered, man, from the world.
Yeah.
So all I knew was my neighborhood. The guys in my neighborhood, they weren't good at basketball. So all I knew was my neighborhood and my brothers. My brothers wasn't as good as me.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I go to these tryouts and you see guys who can ball, they got some swag and they got confidence and everybody knows each other. And it's just like, I felt left out, felt different. So, to be honest, man, my 8th grade year, I tried out for JV, didn't make it. Remind you, I'm like 6'4". I'm 6'4". 9th grade year, tried out, didn't make it for the same team. And I'm like, bro, like, this ain't.
Yeah, what are you telling yourself?
I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, the love was always there, though.
Yeah.
The love never changed. It was just, I don't know, man. I was going through it. I was really going through it. So I actually transferred. I went from public school because back then, it's different now, but public school and private school is, if you go to private school, back then, private school was more like white people.
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, like everybody goes to prep school, private school. So the competition is the same. It's probably even better if you go to a private school. But back then, it was a white school. So I transferred to a white school, and then that's when I started building the confidence because I was okay. I'm clearly the best here.
And clearly, we dealing with foundation skills. Sometimes, even though you got both parents in the household, there's still the other side of that coin.
Exactly.
That you still end up something still transitioning because there's a natural break in communication with our parents. Even if you got both parents or one parent, we still deal with something as you discover.
May I speak to that for a second?
Go ahead.
We who are descendants of slaves.
Right about that.
Slavery ended. Okay, boy, you're on your own. No guidance, no education, no foundation. And we still suffer from that. Few of us made breakthroughs on this show, okay? Most of us still struggle with facades, not telling the truth to ourselves or anybody else. You adopt a character, and you go through life with that swagger because that's what gets you through the hood. And the issue still is not addressed by the institutions because the institutions were created for the boy who was running the show. And we're still lost. Yeah. That's another show, but it's
related.
Yes,
it's related for sure.
Yes.
It's definitely related.
So you get the confidence. You make it to college?
I get the confidence, but even though I was playing at this private school, I went there my sophomore year, my junior year in high school. The competition is not good. So I'm like, even though I'm killing here, it don't matter.
Because
Because I know on the other side of the freaking water, there's like, some killers over there.
Right.
So that's why I was like, I got to go back to public school.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to really work on my game. Because I was scared of public school. Yeah. So I was like, I went to private school. I felt comfortable, all my friends. And even I had been there for 2 years. So I'm like, I'm going to graduate with my friends. I was like, and I made the decision. My dad said something important, man. I'm going to say this. I was at a game. I think it was a playoff game when we lost. And it was we played this other team. They weren't that good, but we lost. And my dad said, if Mike Krzyzewski walked in and saw you play, what would he think? My dad doesn't know this, but I thought about that all summer. And I said, I gotta go back to public school. And that's when I worked my butt off. And that's when I went from private school back to public school. Had a guy on my team who was up and coming in my neighborhood. He was a McDonald's All-American. I was like, I'm gonna play with him and we're gonna kill. And that's when I started having the fire to really, okay, I need to do this. Okay. You know what I mean? So,
and you made it to college?
I made it to college. I went to junior college after that.
Okay.
But after junior college, I went to a university where I met a good friend of mine, Gianna Woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you're chasing hoop dreams. I mean, you played overseas. I mean, so touch on that.
Overseas is totally different from college basketball. College basketball is more structured. Overseas is really. I remember Gianna touched on this last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. That's when you developed. I developed as a basketball player once I got to overseas because it's really, like I said, in college, it's structured. You listen to the coach. He tells you what to do. Overseas they bring you in there to win. So you gotta figure out to win. And that was so difficult for me because I was so used to being a role player, doing what I need to do. Instead, now the coach is like, okay,
leadership.
We need you here to win. You better figure it out or you're getting sent home. Yeah. So I really enjoy playing overseas. That was the greatest moments of my life because it was a challenge. So it's just like, okay, I need to figure out how to win, how to develop, how to encourage, how to be a leader, and also, be hard, grow up, be hard on my teammates, but also be encouraging at the same time and stand up. So
when you hear chasing hoop dreams, what does that mean to you?
Chasing hoop dreams, When I think about chasing hoop dreams, man, I think about it's different because I think there's levels on it. Like it's love. If you love something, no matter what it is, we talked about love or passion, whatever it is, man, you're gonna make sacrifices for that. So if you really love basketball, if you say you love it, there's a lot of people say they love it, but they don't know love is a choice. It's not an emotion. Love is a choice. But when you choose to love something, you're going to make sacrifices for that, whatever it is. You might have some up and downs. But if you really love it, you're going to decide to stick with it during the hard times. And when I think about like chasing hoop dreams, that's when I think about if you say you're chasing hoop dreams, you must really love it. Yeah. You have to show me that you love it. Because a lot of people say that.
Would you say your chasing hoop dreams from high school to college was different than college to professional?
For sure. Okay. I really fell in love with basketball once after college. I fell in love with basketball. I loved basketball, but I fell in love with it because I didn't know if I was going to go play overseas. 'Cause I hurt my knee, and the doctor said I wasn't supposed to be playing basketball no more. He told me that after college. I was going to a couple of G League trials. I was killing. I hurt my knee. I had surgery on my knee. The surgery was unsuccessful. The doctor said, there's a good chance you won't be playing basketball again. And that's when that was a dark time in my life. I really hated my life.
So let's go. So the mental toughness from the spirituality, from the parents, how did you deal with that recovery and that injury?
Man, I questioned God, to be honest. Like, I'm a good guy. Like, there was a lot that was going on that summer, man. I was like, I'm a good guy. There was a girl that I had liked. I found out she was talking to another guy. Like, I was
all of that.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, I'm a good guy. I'm not out here drinking, smoking, partying. Yeah. I'm a good guy. My heart is, I have good intentions, and this happens. So once that happened, I was just like, you know what? I don't know, man. It's just I went through a dark time. It was rough, time.
Right?
Yeah, it was rough.
But you made it.
Yeah, for sure. It was a mental challenge, for sure.
So before we get out of here, we got like 120 seconds left.
Oh,
what do you want to say? I mean, here we are. You guys are friends, but
I'm not the one that broke your heart. Just for the record, it wasn't me.
Nah, Gianna. Me and Gianna, we became cool because the girl, one of her best friends was a girl that I was talking to during the time. So I was always in her dorm room chilling. So we became cool like that. Yeah, Gianna's the homie. That's the homie right there.
How would you describe Gianna?
If I describe Gianna?
Yeah.
Ever since I was, we met in 2008? 2009? Ever since I met, she was optimistic. Very optimistic about life, and she's still the same way. She's a student, for sure. So, and that's why she's always evolving.
Cool deal. What do you want to say real quick to the youth in 30 seconds? What do you want to tell the youth coming up in this next generation? We know that you don't have to play professional basketball in the NBA. You can have a career overseas. Sure. The ABA is kicking out right now. So what do you want to say to those young guys, man?
I say the first thing is find your passion. I think that's the first thing, define who you are, find out who you are, and find your passion. What do you love to do? And then after that, everything will take care of itself. If you find something that you're passionate about, you'll make those sacrifices for that passion, whatever it is.
Cool deal.
Don't be afraid to be weird.
Right.
If you break down the etymology of weird, it literally means to control destiny.
Boom. Caldwell, we got 10 seconds.
No, I'm just impressed with this.
I'm doing this for him. I'm really trying to pull out the stops.
Caldwell's she's on point.
She's right on point.
All right, cool deal. Thank both of you for coming out and being a part of the show.
For sure. No, I appreciate you coming.
Pleasure meeting you, man. Definitely we're going to talk some more.
For sure.
You good? Next week? Yeah. Shout us out. All right.
Hey. Oh, shout you
out? No, I'm just saying. Next week, you got the game, right?
Next week, Sunday, 4 p.m. We play the number 1 team.
Be there.
Charles Drew Middle School.
For sure.
Be there. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We out of here. Thanks for listening in. Again, next Monday, shout us out. What's the count?